Welcome back to the TSV Sports Show. I'm your host, Jasper Lindsay. Today I'm joined by Steven Risotto, Armand Archignani, and our hockey fanatic, Marco Milani. Today we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. We got some NBA talk, we got some college hoops, and of course, Marco's segments. So let's get into one right now. Marco, skating on thin ice. Let's hear it.
You know those 5 stages of grief that there is you talk about a lot in psychology. Well, I have come to the part where this is the acceptance for the San Jose Sharks, because I have now come to accept that these guys suck. This team was on. They looked so good the last game, but then they went to the first game of the homestand against the Wild, and they lost 6-2. And they had so much hope. I mean, Brent Burns scored 45 seconds into the game. I mean, how can you not be excited for that? Then they give up 2 unanswered goals like a few seconds after. I mean, come on. And I just don't know. And in the response to the comment I said last week that they could possibly be a playoff contender, I'm officially revoking that comment. This team is not going to make the playoffs this year, next year, or in the next 2 years. Doug Wilson needs to be fired, and I think the Sharks still need to figure themselves out and sell all the assets that they can right now. This team is not looking good, and they just need to get healthy, and they just need to get younger. And that, Jasper, is really the Sharks skating on thin ice, and they're about to crack through.
Absolutely. You sound like Steven after the first 10 games of the Giants season. All right, moving on to the NBA. The Lakers lost an overtime thriller to the Wizards last night. LeBron continues to struggle without AD. Armand, is this going to affect them come playoff time, or do you think they'll figure this out?
So I've watched the last couple Laker games and I've seen LeBron. Basically, you see him missing with a starting point guard and Schroeder with him out for the health and safety protocols, and then AD being out for a good extended amount of time. But I think if AD gets healthy, I think they'll be still the team to beat in the West. And if Dennis Schroeder's back soon after he's cleared, I think they'll still be the top team to beat in the NBA. But the Wizards are looking good right now, 5-game winning streak, and Westbrook and Beal are starting to play together more, and it's a good scene going on in Washington the last couple weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of the West, we got the Jazz still in the top. Do you think they're peaking too soon, or do you think they can sustain this success into the playoffs?
I think them having fans is great. They got that little extra fire in their step, which is good. I think if they're you know what you're going to get from Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, the 2 stars of the team. But I think guys like Jordan Clarkson, who's having an amazing year off the bench, if he keeps it up, he can be good. Joe Ingles and Bogdanovich, I think if they play the same way they've been playing the last couple of weeks, they'll be a really tough team to play in the playoffs, especially with that Utah altitude.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, moving on to the Warriors. Tough start to their road trip, dropping games to both the Magic and the Hornets. Draymond with that unacceptable second technical to end the last game. Tonight they got the Knicks, team they beat who they lost to last time, 119-104. Armand, what do you think are the keys to this game for the Warriors to get back on track?
I think it's a great game to play against the Knicks. Last time we played the Knicks, Draymond got ejected. Then Draymond got ejected last game. I think he's gonna have a good game tonight, hopefully, just to bring the haters down from the media. But especially me, I've been really critical about him watching the last couple of games, and it's unacceptable to lose games like that, especially under 10 seconds when you're up two. And I think today's a good bounce back week. There's about 12 days until the All-Star break, and I think their schedule is looking pretty good. The Knicks, Pacers, Hornets again, but the Lakers and Trailblazers, those are going to be tough 2 games going into that 5-game stretch. But I think if they come out of there 4-1, that'd be great. 3-2 is more realistic, but if they come out of there 4-1, I think they could be a good team going into the playoffs, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the Knicks, it's all about limiting Julius Randle's role. RJ Barrett had a huge game. If they can limit the guard play, I know Emmanuel Quickly has been having a good season. He cooled down a little bit recently. But yeah, it should be a nice game for the Warriors to try and bounce back. All right, moving on to college basketball. The NCAA tournament season is in full swing, and a little bit of a storyline going. Duke is surging right now after Jalen Johnson chose to opt out. Do you think they could maybe sneak into the tournament, Armand?
I think if they win their last couple games, I think they'll make a big headache for the NCAA to see if they're going to make it or not. You know, you can never count out Coach K. Coach K always has his teams ready and prepared. I think ever since Jalen Johnson opted out, I mean, they've been playing good recently, but yeah, it was really at first it was really a big surprise to see Jalen Johnson just come out after would he have opted out if they were a top 25 team? I don't know, but I think if Duke can start rolling, it could be a good team and a good headache for the NCAA after their win against Syracuse.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the huge win against Virginia, too. I mean, they've had wins against NC State, Wake Forest, Virginia, and Syracuse in their past 4. They look really good. Speaking of another team that looks really good, Michigan. Huge win against Ohio State this weekend. What do you think their ceiling is in the tournament?
I think they'll definitely get to the Elite Eight for sure. I think Final Four is going to be a little tough, but I think they can do it. They look pretty good. Beating Ohio State is always a good game when Michigan and Ohio State play. So I think that was a big win for Michigan, especially over the layover they've had the last couple of weeks coming back from COVID-19 protocols. And I think they'll be a good team. Hunter Dickinson played really good last night, and I think they could be the team to beat coming out of that conference. So yeah, top 4 or Final Four is definitely looking good for them. Hopefully.
Absolutely. And Juwan Howard just has that team moving like a well-oiled machine right now. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where the Big Ten championship takes us. I know there's a lot of great teams in there. And at the time of the game, Ohio State and Michigan were both number 1 seeds in bracketology. It was actually the most viewed game all season. So, I mean, college basketball is officially back. All right, switching gears. Steve has some beef with Major League Baseball's marketing. Steve, give us those takes.
Yeah. So I want to ask you guys a few questions here. Marco, is baseball, as popular in terms of the younger generation than football and basketball?
I would not say so. Baseball is one of those things where it's like it's a very long and drawn out game, whereas football and basketball and even hockey, you see like constant action, like boom, 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 boom. With baseball, it kind of takes a little bit to get there. And
100%.
In today's age, you want convenience and you want quick. So,
yeah. Armand, yes or no? Is baseball compared to those 2 other sports in terms of the young generation?
I think the younger generation is going against baseball. When I was younger, I was watching a lot of baseball and it was great. I loved it, but now it's just like people, I feel like they only watch it when there's nothing else on. Like there's no NBA, there's no football, there's no hockey, there's no soccer. But I think baseball has been going down recently, and I can't figure out the reason why. But I think it's probably because of a prolonged season. There's so many games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think baseball is going down.
Jasper, we need your thoughts on this. I know what you're going to say. No, right? Okay, so let's dig into my point here. It's not marketable right now because, kids turn on sports and they see LeBron James.
Oh, no.
Trash talking, smiling, having fun. That they see Tom Brady winning championships, having fun. But when you have fun in baseball, the result is you get thrown at, right? And it's not fair. So that's kind of where I would go with that. So there's a big marketing issue that needs to be fixed. So that's my brief take on it.
I mean, listen, the fact that golf is twice as long and is still getting more viewership right now than baseball, it's clearly, it's not a problem with the game. It's a problem with its culture.
They struggle marketing their players. Mike Trout's not marketed enough.
Is Rob Manfred the guy, Steve?
No. He has no feel for the game.
Yep.
That's a problem.
There we go. All right, Marco, it's time for our favorite segment of the week. Give us that mock.
So this week I am going short and simple. I have been talking a lot about the 49ers. I'm going to take a bit of a break because they have their own problems to deal with. This time I'm going as current 49ers broadcaster Greg Papa used to say when he was on 95.7 The Game, the Raiders. This time that I am looking to trade somebody out of the Raiders organization, and that would be Marcus Mariota. He has had some trade rumors out on him since a couple years ago. I think he's ready to move on. And here is my mock of the week. It's Marcus Mariota to the New England Patriots for a fourth. Very simple. And I think Mariota can thrive under that system. Let me collect my thoughts here. The Patriots have a great running back, or can get a great running back either in the draft, or they can develop one of their own. They also have very good wide receivers. They still have N'Keal Harry, who's a budding star. And if tight ends aren't an issue, they have 3 tight ends, including 2020 draft standout Devin Asiasi from UCLA, who I think should get a bigger expanded role in the team and be up more in the depth chart over current tight end Ryan Izzo. So to sum, Mariota to the Patriots for fourth.
I really like this trade, Marco. I think this is probably the most realistic one you've brought us thus far. I think my only question with Mariota is, like, I saw such a small sample size of him this season. Is he really a starting caliber quarterback still? And I think obviously, yes, I think he got a bad rap when he was in Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill. But I don't know. I've seen 2.5 quarters of Mariota. I would feel like I would have liked to see more. It seems like a guy the Bears would trade for, knowing Ryan Pace just likes to shoot blindly. I don't know. Armand, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think this is a good trade for the Patriots. To be honest, I think if you give up a 4th rounder for Mariota's shown he's been a good quarterback in Tennessee, but then obviously got taken out by Ryan Tannehill. And against Miami, the Miami game this year against the Raiders, he showed what he can do, and he played pretty good. So I think this is a good trade for both teams. Derek Carr gets the idea out of his mind that Mariota can take his job, but Mariota also gets a chance in New England with Belichick.
Absolutely. All right. I have a trade I want to propose to you guys. And it's not necessarily a trade, but it's more so if this player will get traded. I've been seeing a lot on Twitter lately, package deals for Russ. Do you think there is any future where Russ gets traded? Kicking it out to Armand first.
I think this is a tough situation because Russell Wilson he's been great over this whole career with Seattle, and Seattle's been his home for however many years he's been there, since 2012. I don't think they'll trade him, though. I think he'll stay there, and unless something terrible happens with the front office, then he'll leave. But I think he'll be there for the long run.
Yeah. Marco, you're a trade optimist. Any future where you see Russ get traded?
No. It's very simple for the Seahawks to fix. This 2021 draft class is filled to the brim with offensive linemen, and you probably can't find a bust. You have how many? I don't know how many picks they have, but they have multiple picks. They can get a couple offensive linemen, and they can stack up their depth. And there's still a lineman on the market. Yes, they'll probably have to compete with the 49ers if they want to get somebody like Alex Mack, somebody like I don't know. I don't know who's on the market right now. But the point is, it's a very simple fix that the Seahawks can make. It's just the question of if they're willing to make those fixes and keep Russ there. Otherwise, Russ is staying for the long run.
Yeah, and I think they looked so good at the beginning of the season, and that was because they had a balanced attack. But then they kind of started to let Russ cook too much, and were relying on that deep pass to DK, or that kind of one cut that Lockett can make and then just turn upfield. I think it's definitely something that they're going to have to fix going forward if they want to stay competitive in that NFC West.
Also, what's the issues with the offensive line? Every time they've played the Niners, he's had plenty of time to throw. That's probably because the O-linemen were holding the Niners defensive players though, and the refs weren't calling it.
Whoa. We're not going to make any bold takes there, but I mean, his offensive line is a little like Jekyll and Hyde. Doesn't know which one you're going to get any day of the week. And losing Mike Lupati definitely doesn't help. A nice veteran. All right. Let's get into some 60-second rants. I'm going to let Steve go first.
Come back to me.
Come back to you. All right.
I have a pretty good one.
Marco, let's hear it.
So, spring training is here, and I'm really excited for it. The Red Sox weren't great last year. They finished bottom of the division last year, but the good news is, one of their pitchers, Erod, is looking really good so far. And hopefully with a good season from Chris Sale, some production from some added production from some of our players. Why can I not think right now? We can really make a push for this AL East division. It may not be first because there are a lot of good young teams in that division that can definitely make a push. But I think we can finish probably third and sneak into the playoffs if need be. So good luck to the Red Sox this year, but I'm happy baseball's back.
Always the optimist, Marco. We love to see it. All right, Armand, you ready to go?
Yeah. All right, so my talk of the day, I touched on it earlier. Draymond Green. He's been the backbone of the Warriors. He's been everything the Warriors have ever wanted, ever needed with Steph Curry and Clay. He's been in the media recently about getting traded, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's a lot of white noise, and I think he's been in the media for the wrong doings, and I think he's going to have a great game against the Knicks tonight. He'll get a triple-double. He'll come back, and everybody will talk about him for what he did tonight. And the Warriors go on a 5-0 winning streak this week. And then they'll go into the All-Star break, and everyone will talk about the dark horses of the NBA with the new schedule coming out, going into the playoffs. And I think if Steph and Dre can get back on track, they'll be a really good team going into the playoffs with the 7 versus 10 and the 8 versus 9 in the playoffs.
Beautiful. All right, Steve, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Steve,
Sorry, my dog was barking.
Here we go.
All right. So I want to kind of piggyback off my point real quick about what I said earlier. I missed a point. I knew I was forgetting something, but I missed it. Is that baseball is so expensive that it's hard to get the kids in the inner cities to play. So that's another problem that baseball needs to address. Also, to piggyback off what Marco said, spring training is here. We're ready to go. Grass smells great. Seeing all the players, new uniforms, it's the best time of year, one of the best times of year. So we love to see that. Also, Seattle Mariners president and CEO made some comments over the weekend that were not flattering. He criticized players for not speaking English and criticized, the team for hiring interpreters. One thing I want to say to that president and CEO, go to Tokyo, go to the Dominican Republic, and just go there and with no English assistance and see what happens. Okay. So that's what I would suggest for him to do. Bad comments, very insensitive. Hate to see it.
Yeah. And I believe he actually resigned yesterday. So glad
Good.
to have that out of baseball.
Yeah. You don't want that reflecting on your organization. And it kind of did.
Yeah. That's baseball for you. All right. My 60-second rant. Today we're talking a little UCF football. These kids think they have this 2017 claimed NCAA championship, and they recently made headlines over the weekend hiring Gus Malzahn, or last week hiring Gus Malzahn. At his press conference, a reporter asked him if he could handle the pressure of coaching at UCF. Are you kidding me? The pressure at coaching at UCF? You play in the American Athletic Conference. That is the most uncreative conference name in all of college football. You couldn't even beat Cincinnati last year. And UCF is just such a joke, and I'm so tired of this annoying fan base thinking they have any stake in the college football world. You were a cute little story in 2017, you were a cute little story in 2018, but you are nothing. You couldn't even beat. The most recent thing you're famous for is making Joe Burrow a god. So, you know what, UCF, you can go join the rest of the horrible football programs and annoying fan bases. And I know I'm going over here, but UCF is just the worst, and I hate them.
Do you need some oxygen? You okay?
Feeling great. Ready to roll.
We've had some epic rants in this show. Jasper went off, Marco went off.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
No, honestly, one of our more entertaining episodes. So make sure to keep tuning in, guys. And as always, this has been the TSV Sports Show, and we will see you next week.